Please like this video. I really need your support right now. It's the only way this story can reach more people. Thank you so much for being here with me and for your support. The laugh dropped out of the yard like someone hit pause. String lights hummed, the grill clicked, and our neighbors froze with paper plates in hand. Lying back in the Adirondack, I had one eye on the ribeye and one on Lorne. She held her glass high like she was auditioning for a speech club. I found myself, she announced, cheeks pink from the heat or the wine. And I'm ready to let things go, including the marriage. Someone snorted, thought it was a joke, then realized it wasn't. The snort died awkward. I set the beer on the ledge, wiped my hands on a towel, and walked over. No rush, no noise. I planted myself beside the grill so the smoke blew between us. Try it again, I told her. No audience, no glass. She looked past me at the semicircle of faces, neighbors, co-workers, the usual Saturday crew. I need a divorce, she said, steady now. I'm tired of feeling invisible. I don't raise my voice. Never needed to. I glanced around at the faces, Tyler from next door with his baseball hat, Jenna from the HOA with a curious smirk, my colleague Paul holding tongs he didn't need. Got it, I said. You pick theater over a conversation. Noted. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have pulled the plug on the party right then. But I let the ribs finish. You'd be surprised what you'll allow while your brain catches up. I killed the burners, handed the tongs to Paul, and told Tyler to plate what was ready. Then I turned to Lorne. Kitchen, I said. Now. We walked through the sliding door like co-workers heading to a meeting we both wanted to cancel. In the kitchen, it was just us and the buzz from the old fridge. I leaned on the counter. She tapped her nail on the stem of the glass. I'm not doing this here, she said. You already did, I replied. So let's do the part that matters. What part is that? The line. I pointed to the tile between us. Pain, I can handle. I won't sit through a circus. It wasn't a circus, she said, chin up. You made a toast to my life? I answered dry. In our yard. She shifted, then went quiet. I'm not staying here tonight, I told her. I'll be at the spare place. What spare place? The apartment on McDowell. The one I kept in case talking stops and pointing starts. You kept an apartment? Yup. You've been planning to leave? I've been planning to keep my dignity, I said. Big difference. You're overreacting. No, I said. I'm reacting. You tested if I'd chase. I don't chase. I didn't ask you to chase. You asked the neighborhood to clap? I said. I'm not your audience. She took a breath like she might swing again, then let it out. So that's it, she asked. For tonight, yes. I opened the junk drawer, pulled out a spare key, set it on the counter. Front door is yours. Back door is mine. Don't lock the gate. Tyler needs to get the cooler out. Nick. I'll come by tomorrow to grab clothes. No need to be here. You can't just vanish. I'm not vanishing. I'm creating space for an adult conversation. If you want a divorce, we do it clean. We'll see a paralegal this week. You pick the day. She stared at the key. You're punishing me, she said. I'm protecting me, I answered, then walked back outside and let the yard run on without me. Scene shift wasn't the patio, it was the balance. I cleared my plate from my own life. The apartment was a small box off McDowell with laminate floors, a couch I never liked, and a coffee maker that worked better than any therapy I've seen recommended. I set my bag down, sent a group text to the barbecue chat. Thanks for coming. We'll wrap early. Be safe getting home. 30 seconds later, Jenna pinged privately. Everything okay? Everything honest, I wrote. We'll handle it. Tyler, want me to swing by? Get the cooler. Leave the ribs. He sent a thumbs up. At dawn I did what I know, structure. Gym at 6. Silent phone. Row press. Run. No drama. Then shower, black coffee, and the office. Scottsdale tech firm with open ceilings and fake plants. The desk knew me better than anyone. Paul leaned on my cubicle wall. Casual, like he's asking for a pen. You good, he asked. I will be, I said. She did it in front of everyone. She did, I answered, booting my computer. So we'll do the paperwork in front of a notary. You want me to keep people off your back? You can tell whoever asks that I'm fine, I said, and that I'm not discussing it in the break room. Copy that, he said, then added with a crooked grin. Want the project with the Phoenix rollout? It's yours if you need distraction. I'll take it, I said. Busy beats wounded. That night, I sent Lorne one message. Paralegal, Wednesday, 3 p.m., Mesa. Address attached. She read it. No reply. That was an answer in its own way. Wednesday, I sat in the little office that smelled like toner and cheap candles. The paralegal, Shelley, 40s, efficient, one of those people who never loses a pen, had the forms ready. She coming? Shelley asked. Supposed to, I said, checking the door again. 3 o'clock turned to 3:20. Shelley cleared her throat. I can notarize your signature now, she said. We'll need hers later. Do it, I said. Let's not waste time. I signed. Lauren didn't show, didn't text, didn't call. Walking out, I made the first hard conclusion. She loved the headline, not the work. She threw divorce into a crowd to see who'd hand her a medal. But the forms? That's boring. Responsibility always is. I put it in my phone like a task. No chasing. No follow-ups. Next step, separate the everyday tangle. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. I moved my direct deposit to a single account. I cut my name off the utility autopay and set my half to manual. I canceled the housekeeper and lawn guy under my card with a quick note to Lauren. Vendors are off my accounts as of Friday. If you want them, fine. If not, I'll mow this week and we'll pause after. Her response came late. So you're punishing me with chores now? I typed, deleted, then sent. I don't punish. I budget. 2 days later, she showed up at the apartment unannounced with a Trader Joe's bag and that guilty, sweet tone people use when they're selling a timeshare. I brought dinner, she said, holding up a casserole like a white flag. I eat, I replied. Thanks. So you're really doing this separate money thing? She asked, looking around the small place like it offended her. Already done. That's aggressive. It's adult, I said. We're either partners or we're not. If we're not, I'm not underwriting your schedule. I never asked you to, she said, and set the casserole down. Can we talk? We can trade information, I said. That's how you see it. That's how it is. I freaked out, she offered softer now. The last few months I felt stuck. You're allowed to feel stuck, I said. You're not allowed to make our yard your stage. I'm sorry about the party, she said, eyes on the cracked countertop. I got carried away. That apology can live here, I told her, tapping the laminate. But the consequence still lives here. I pointed to the door. You're cold, she whispered. I'm consistent, I said. We can meet the paralegal again next Tuesday. Your pick of time. I'll send times. She nodded, like she'd give me that, and left the casserole. Illusion of care, measured, tasty, and meant to buy time. Next Tuesday, no show again. No text. I crossed out any lingering doubt with a Sharpie. Then I did my calendar like someone changing a lock. Mornings, training and breakfast alone. Nights, work, a quick run at the canal, then a sandwich at the kitchen island in silence with a notebook. I wrote lists, what I keep, what I sell, what I replace. Small things, towels, coffee cups, the comfortable chair the dog used to steal. I also took one step on a field that wasn't mine, HR. Emergency contact, I told Kendra in HR. Switch me from spouse to my brother, Nate. You sure? She asked, clicking. Yes. Benefit status? Leave as is until papers are signed, I said. But I want everything in a folder. No surprises. You got it, she said, friendly with the tone of someone who has watched people not be ready. If you need resources. I have a gym and a phone, I said. That's enough. A week later, I slid into a booth at a greasy spoon near Indian School. I'd picked it because nobody from our circle goes to places with cracked vinyl. The waiter poured coffee without asking. Nick? A voice came from the next booth. I turned. Mark. Old friend from softball years back, now thicker through the middle, still wearing the same cap style. Look at you, he said. Heard rumblings. You okay? I'm functional, I said. He lowered his voice. I saw Lauren at the hospital last week. What hospital? Honor Health, he said. Her mom. Stroke. She was shuttling between there and home the day you had your notary thing. She looked wrecked. I stared at the coffee. The brain does the math. It always does. Thanks for telling me, I said. She mentioned you two were. I don't know, Mark waved. Complicated. Accurate, I said. She said you left fast. I left clean, I said. Then I added, because it needed saying out loud at least once. Her mom being sick explains her absence in Mesa. It doesn't explain the speech in my yard. Mark nodded slowly. Fair. She can be a great daughter and still have run a stunt, I said. Both can be true. Want me to pass along anything? He asked. No, I said. If she wants information, she knows how to reach me. That was the third week. After that, time flattened into routine. Scottsdale summer did its thing. Oven heat at noon, monsoon winds at dusk. I worked, I lifted, I slept. On Saturdays, I hiked McDowell early, before the tourists. In the evenings, I sat on the apartment balcony with a radio and let the neighborhood sound like background. Every few days, I swung by the house when she wasn't there, pulled weeds, emptied the mailbox, and left the gate the way I found it. A month and a half later, Tyler texted, "Birthday on the roof next Friday. You in?" "Yeah," I wrote. "I'll bring the cheap chips no one wants." "Bring your dry humor," he replied. "We're short." The roof was downtown, one of those apartment buildings with views of the lit-up city and a hot tub nobody used. People moved around with plastic cups. I was leaning on the railing with Paul, arguing about football, when I felt the shift behind me, the awareness you get when a room changes temperature. "Hi," Lauren said. "Evening," I answered, casual. She looked good in that calculated way, hair brushed within an inch of its life, easy dress, nothing extra. She glanced at Paul, then back to me. "Can we talk?" "Short is better," I said. She exhaled like she'd been practicing. "I disappeared," she began. "I did everything wrong. I didn't bail her out. I'm sorry about the yard. And the no-shows. I chose the wrong way to make a change." "You tested your power," I said. "You liked the echo." She flinched, but kept going. "I thought I had to be bold, or I'd drown. It got away from me." I nodded. Tyler wandered over, took one look at our faces, and angled himself to be a witness without pretending he wasn't. "So," she said, lifting her chin, "are we done?" "Technically, we're still married," I said. "Practically, we're separate. It's time to finish clean. Paralegal is flexible. Pick a day." "You always make everything sound like a schedule," she said. "Schedules get finished," I replied. "Can we take a beat first?" she asked. "Talk, not sign." "We can talk while we sign," I said. "Nick." "Lauren." I cut in, friendly. "I'm not angry. I'm resolved." She looked past me, like the city lights held a better answer. "I miss you," she said, quiet. "I miss the us that respected each other," I said. "That version isn't in the room." She swallowed. Tyler coughed into his fist and wandered off, mercy move. "That doesn't mean it can't come back," she tried. "It means I'm not trying to resuscitate it on a rooftop," I said. "Call Shelley. I'll be there." She left me with a nod that tried to be strong and landed somewhere near tired. That was illusion number 2, warmth after the boundary. It came with open palms and careful phrases. I didn't buy stock in it. The next week, I started living like the apartment was permanent. Upgraded the mattress. Bought a proper skillet. Threw out the ugly couch and dragged in a second-hand leather one I could live with. Quiet wins. No fanfare. Emma showed up in my life without effort. Freelance editor. We'd bumped into each other twice at the same coffee shop. First time, I overheard her rearranging a sentence on her laptop out loud, like the words were furniture. Second time, we traded nods. Third time, we ended up in a real conversation because the barista mixed up our cups. "You're the guy who doesn't use sugar," she said, sliding mine across. "And you're the one who acts out punctuation," I replied. "Guilty," she said. "I'm Emma." Nick. We kept it light. Music, podcasts, hikes at reasonable hours. No speeches. No rescue fantasies. When she laughed, it didn't feel like payment for anything. One afternoon, we were at a cafe off Indian Bend. She was showing me a paragraph she'd tightened like a good knot. "That's better," I said. "You turned 5 sentences into 3 and didn't lose the punch." "You say that like it's normal," she said. "It should be." "Look at you two," the barista teased, fixing the language. I smiled. Then I felt that temperature change again. I didn't need to turn my head to know. Lauren was at the next table, a magazine open, eyes flicking over the page without seeing it. Emma noticed the shift in me and followed my glance. She looked back at me. "Friend?" she asked. "History," I said. "Do we leave?" she offered. "No," I said. "We finish our coffee." Lauren moved her spoon in her cup, like she was stirring conflict. She didn't speak. She wanted me to approach, let her steer the scene, ask how she's doing, give her the stage. I gave nothing. The moment belonged to me. We paid. We left. Emma didn't ask for details. That told me all I needed about her. A couple of weeks later, Lauren texted. Just coffee, she wrote. No pressure. Our old spot. Wednesday, 4. Okay, I sent. Not to revisit. To end. When I got there, she was already at the corner table. 2 cups on the table, the cheap sugar packets in a neat stack. She didn't do small talk. I made it a show, she said. You were both an audience and a target. I'm sorry. For real. I listened. That was my part. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It really helps YouTube recommend this story to more people. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's get back to the story. I wasn't invisible, she went on. I was loud. I made myself the whole point. It felt like power. It wasn't, I said. I know, she answered. I thought if I went public, I'd feel brave. I just felt empty. And when Mom got sick, I hid behind it. That's your admission, I said. Accepted. Does it change anything? She asked. No, I answered. She blinked, slow, like she'd rehearsed lines that assumed I'd say maybe. Nothing, she pushed. I accept the apology, I said. It doesn't undo the yard, or the no-shows, or the drive-by surveillance at cafes. We finish this with a signature. You really can switch it off, she said, a mix of awe and blame. I switched it to safe, I said. For both of us. Can't we try? No, I said. She looked down. I deserve that. I'm not dealing in deserved, I said. I'm dealing in done. I slid a 20 under the salt shaker, stood, and picked up my keys. You're just going to walk out? I told you my rule in the kitchen, I said. Pain, I can handle. Circus, I will not. I pushed the chair in. Thanks for the apology. Nicholas. Lauren, I returned. Good luck. I left, not fast, not slow. Just final. The steps after were logistics and clarity. I booked Shelley for Friday. Lauren showed up this time. Quiet, hair pulled back, a pen in her hand. No theatrics. We signed what needed signing. We set dates for the rest, property, accounts, timelines. No open doors. No halfway words like, maybe later. Before I walked out, I set a rule that mattered to me and to the circle we shared. I typed a single message to the neighborhood group and the smaller work-adjacent chat. Update. Lauren and I have decided to finalize our separation. Appreciate privacy. No sides needed. No gossip traded. Replies were what you'd expect. Blue hearts, thumbs ups, a here if you need anything. Tyler sent me a separate note. Proud of you for handling it clean. At the house, I packed what was mine into labeled tubs. Tools. Books. The vinyl collection she never liked. The thrifted oak dresser I refinished one winter. I left the things that were clearly hers. I took my grill. That wasn't petty. That was mine. She tried one last soft maneuver the next week. I was at the house switching out a ceiling fan when her friend, Tracy, the one who speaks in slogans, appeared in the doorway. Hey, champ, Tracy said. How about you two take a break from paperwork and actually talk? Closure is healing. Hi, Tracy, I said, staying on the ladder. We're good on closure. Lauren is wrecked, she said, putting a hand to her chest like a stage prop. You could meet her halfway. We met at a table with a pen, I said. That's as halfway as it gets. She says you're being cold. I say I'm being clear, I replied. Clear isn't the same as cruel. Tell her she doesn't need a bigger audience. She needs a calendar. Tracy made a face. You always were particular. It's kept me alive, I said, and swapped the last wire nut. She hovered, hoping I'd throw her a line she could carry back. I didn't. She left. That was the last third-party performative attempt I entertained. Meanwhile, life did what it does when you stop feeding it drama. It straightened. Work got sharper. I took on the Phoenix rollout and cut the timeline by 2 weeks. Paul stopped by my desk and tapped the whiteboard. You built a machine, he said. I got out of one, I replied. He grinned. Happy for you, man. Emma and I changed speed without announcing it. She came over with a bag of groceries. You cook, she said. You edit, I countered. Deal. We ate at my small table, with the radio low, and the only argument was over whether tomatoes should go in the fridge. I won that one. Some hills are worth taking. A month after the signatures, there was the community block party. I didn't plan to go. Then Tyler texted, "You should swing by." They rented a bounce house. "For adults, it's just a hazard." "I'll drop off ice," I wrote. I walked in with 2 bags of ice and the awareness that time turns crowds into minds. People watched me to see if I'd be a story. I refused to be. Lauren was there near the folding tables, already in a conversation with Jenna, laughing that big laugh you bring out when you need to show you're okay. Our eyes met. She walked over. "Hi," she said. "Hi," I answered. "We're telling people we're separated," she said, like we needed a coordinated script. "We're telling nobody anything," I replied. "We're living our own lives." "You had to make a statement in the chats," she said. "I made a boundary," I corrected. "You made the initial statement in our yard." She exhaled through her nose, annoyed but contained. "I hope you're happy," she said, the classic closer people use when they have no leverage left. "I am," I said, not to spite her, but because it was true. She looked over my shoulder, scanning for eyes. I put the ice in the coolers and walked back out to the street, where Tyler was halfway into the bounce house and regretting everything. "You good?" he called. "Better than you," I said, watching him invent a new way to pull a hamstring. That was the last public overlap that had any heat. The rest was subtraction. Final paperwork closed 2 months later. Titles, simple buyouts, bank accounts. Clean. No drama. I kept the apartment for a bit, then sold the house and bought a smaller place with a garage that fits my tools and a little backyard where the dog could have Doug if we still had one. He's gone now. Life moves like that. I replaced the grill with a newer version and didn't invite an audience. Emma didn't push. She just showed up to what was real. We hiked. We ate late breakfasts. She met Paul and Tyler and passed the same test everyone eventually does. She treated them like people, not chess pieces. "Are you sure you're not just escaping?" she asked once, straight as a ruler. "Oh, I escaped," I said. "Now I'm building something." "And her?" "Her what?" "Her life," Emma said. "Do you think she's okay?" "She's resourceful," I said. "But it's different when the clapping stops." I heard, through the grapevine, you can't fully avoid in a neighborhood like ours, that Lauren moved into a smaller condo across town. The job she floated for didn't stick. She pulled back from the HOA board after Jenna stopped defending her in side chats. She wasn't shunned. Nobody deserves that. But the circle that spun for her when she created theater wasn't as excited to help carry boxes when the credits rolled. I didn't gloat. I also didn't fix it. That was never my job. A few months after it all ended, I ran into Mark again at the diner with the cracked vinyl. "How's your mom?" I asked him to ask Lauren when he saw her. "Back home," he said. "Slow recovery. She's stubborn, which helps." "Good," I said. "And you?" Mark asked. "I've got a garage," I said. "And a woman who edits my nonsense before I send emails. And I sleep." He smiled. "That last one matters." "It does," I said. "More than I remembered. Sometimes at night, I stand in the little backyard and listen to the neighborhood buzz. A dog barks. Someone laughs 2 houses over. Life hums. I feel calm. Not because everything turned out perfect. Because I did the one thing men forget to do when the show starts. They walk off stage. I didn't slam doors. I didn't throw plates. I didn't campaign. I told her on the first night, "Pain, I can handle. Circus, I won't." She gave me both. I chose which one to carry. The last time I saw her up close was in the parking lot of that old coffee shop. She was walking to her car, keys in hand. She looked at me like she wanted a line to end on that would make the whole thing neat. "You really never looked back," she said. "I looked forward," I answered. "That easy?" "No," I said. "That necessary?" She nodded once, the way people do when they respect the line even if they hate what it costs. She got in her car. I got in mine. We left. If a younger guy asked me what to do when someone turns your life into a stage, I'd say this: don't throw tomatoes and don't stay in your seat. Stand up. Pay your tab. Tip the staff. Leave through the side door. Let the lights cool without you. That's not drama. That's dignity. And in Scottsdale, or anywhere else, it buys you the one thing that actually changes a life: quiet. In that quiet, you can hear your next step. And it sounds a lot like your own name.